Okay, so let's start this podcast with the first American guest. So Deontrai, first I want to thank you for accepting the invitation, and second I want to apologize in advance for my bad accent and a lot of mistakes that I can make during the podcast.
There's no problem, man. I appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, Deontrai, for those who don't know you yet, you finished at the 10th place this year in Classic Physique at the Olympia. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Deontrai Campbell. I am an Tampa Pro, and first time competing at the Olympia this past year, 2020. Yeah. Like you said, we placed top 10th at the first time ever, and been competing for about 5 years now in bodybuilding. Got my pro card in 2017, and yeah, it's just been a heck of a journey, and I'm excited. Pretty still, what would you call it? Brand new to the sport, somewhat, and yeah, we got another journey coming up this year, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. How old are you now?
I am 33.
33. Okay. So you make bodybuilding at 27. What did you do before on sports?
I played football. All my life. Was a college football player as well. Then after football, I just pretty much went to the gym, an average gym lifter. And then, yeah, that's how I kind of started getting more towards bodybuilding, just staying in the gym, staying active in the gym. But before that, just active in football. Never wanted to be a bodybuilder, and that's a different story. But yeah, football player, track runner, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, so you start working out during your career on a football player.
You said what?
You start to working out during your past football player.
Yeah, in football, yeah. So of course, being a football player, we had to hit the weights, and I think back when I was 16 or so, I had got injured during football, and my dad had bought some gym equipment. So I would just go in there, I had a ACL. I tore my ACL in football, and I would go into our little gym area and banded up leg, and all I could do is upper body. And so I would just go and lift. And then I saw, a lot of good gains, but I never thought about being a bodybuilder. I just liked the way I looked. But it wasn't until I got into college that I really started hitting it, because that's when food started, as a football player, they were feed us. I gained a good 10, 15 pounds in like 2 months. And it was mostly muscle. And to the point where my coaches were like, hey, you kind of need to back away from hitting so much weights because you're pretty big now. And so, yeah, I think it was around then that I really enjoyed the weight room and the weights and the gym. And then after college, I kind of just, I didn't hit it as hard, and I wasn't in the gym as much. But I would just pretty much stay consistent in and out, the weekend partier. During the week, I'm hitting the gym, and then the weekends, I'm partying kind of thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, like Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
Do you think your past in football help you during your career on bodybuilding, like for the legs, for example?
Yeah, I do, actually. They did a lot of movements, not only movements from the weight room, but I do think, my legs got very developed because of football. Just my physique overall is a reason why I really started developing the type of training and all that stuff. So, yeah, a lot of powerlifting and then speed, agility, mixed together. think it was a good combination to, and my body reacted really well.
Yes, but there is a huge difference between make a football game and go on stage. So what do you feel natural for you to go on stage after football?
Do I feel as it's better?
Not especially better, but do you feel comfortable on stage, like on a yield, on a football yield?
Do I feel, the same comfort level on the stage as I did on the football field?
Yes.
Oh yeah. So it's wild you're even asking that. I've never really thought about that until you literally just asked that. Well, the thing is with football, I have the helmet on and I zone in, and man, I never thought about that. I would say yes. That's a great question now that I think about it, because once, like this past Olympia, once I got on stage, I was confident. I was, it was just going with, I felt great, and I felt like that's where I belong. But before, I was nervous, and this is the same feeling that I had when I played football. Wow, I never thought about that. So once I got on the football field, it was the same confidence as the bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Now that, oh man, wow, that was a great question. But before the games in football, I would be nervous. So it is very similar. Yeah, very similar to how I felt. Very similar from bodybuilding to how I felt with, when I pursued football. Wow, great question.
But on stage you have just yourself, and on the field you can have some guys with you, so it's
yeah there's a difference. And I think with bodybuilding, the more I do it, the more the confidence tends to flow out. I think that was a little bit of this past Olympia, to be honest, is the nerves, and definitely, like you said, you're out there by yourself, and then all eyes are on you. But I think the same, once you have that confidence, like in football, I'm not gonna lie, like I knew I was good, and I had the confidence to back it up and the talent to back it up. And I think once you take that same energy and the same confidence to the stage, it makes you even better, and it just flows out. So wow. I'm still taking that in. Yeah, I need to bring that full confidence that I had from the football field to the stage, and yeah. But
before we talk more about Olympia, I just want to know why did you take 3 years to make your pro debut, and before that, why did you choose to become a pro?
Can you repeat the first one?
Why did you take 3 years to make your pro debut?
Okay. So when I first got into bodybuilding, I never wanted to be a bodybuilder. Every time somebody would ask me to be, or tell me I should be a bodybuilder, I'm like, I don't want to go on stage in those trunks. Like, why would I want to wear that in front of a bunch of people? Like, yeah, I like my gains and all that stuff. Oh no, I never want to be a bodybuilder. But then I became a bodybuilder. Then I got into bodybuilding, but it took 3 years because after the first show that I ever did, I wanted to really improve, and I started, pretty much falling in love with the sport. Yeah. And I knew I could do well, but I took some time off actually after my first show. Then once I, got my pro card, it was the same feeling. Okay, I want to improve. I want to be able to come in and just win. I don't want second place. I don't want third. I don't want last. I want to come in and win. So I wanted to take some time off from the sport and just improve. Not only my physique, but mentally as well. I wanted to make sure I was mentally prepared and, prepared in life, because that's when I started meeting my now wife. And I wanted to establish our household, because I I can't really pursue bodybuilding if my household isn't in order and I'm not able to provide, food on my family while I'm over here eating 6-7 meals a day to pursue bodybuilding, So I wanted to make sure I had my life in order first before I started stepping back on stage. So, yeah.
Yeah, I understand because I think it's maybe it's more easily in the US to make money with bodybuilding, but I don't think it's easy for amateurs and a little pro. I don't want to be disrespectful, but I think it's hard even with the social media.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
that's what I agree on that. And I was just listening to some other podcasts, and it's funny you say that because when I first got into the sport, Rich Piana, I remember me watching a video of him saying money, how to make a living in bodybuilding and all that stuff. And it was saying how you had to brand yourself because there's no money in bodybuilding. There's no, the sponsors aren't really paying like they used to. I know a lot of people talk about it, like the one back in Jay Cutler was, doing really well and sponsors were paying really well, but they're not doing the same. And you have to have like multiple sponsors to make a living. Like right now, I still work a full-time job and I have a few sponsors, but I'm not to the place where I'm able to just pursue bodybuilding. I would like to get to that place, but bodybuilding doesn't bring in a lot of money unless you have that, like you said, social media following, unless you're doing really well with sponsors and, just making so many different forms of residual income.
Yeah. You don't coach anybody?
I do coach. And so that's when, like I said, Rich Piana said, you have to brand yourself. So I started my own little business called Campus Muscle. Mm-hmm. And I started off, of course, when I first started, I was a personal trainer before, but once I got into bodybuilding, I focused more on bodybuilding, more athletes. But now I have quite a few athletes under me, but it's still to the point where I'm growing in that area. So, we're just constantly growing and trying to market and push that area of my business so I can step out and just pursue fitness and bodybuilding and focus on that. I can't imagine where I would be if I was able to, but we're slowly getting there.
Okay. Do you have any model to become or to inspire you when you start and now?
Do I have any body that like inspired me?
Yes, but also in life, like Jay Cutler currently is more an Olympia model, I think.
So do I kind of like look up to anybody?
Sorry?
Is that what you're asking?
Sorry? I don't hear.
I said, are you asking like, do I look up to anybody? Like a role model?
Yes.
Okay. That's pretty tough because I feel as once I start feeling, I'm going to lie. So Rough Diesel, he's younger than me, but he's a great guy. Like I've spoke to him plenty of times, just back and forth, a very humble guy. And even in person. And I love the way he goes about just the sport, not only the sport, but just being a human being. Him and John Meadows. So before, I just knew of John Meadows, but he is a genuinely nice guy. I am sponsored by him now, which is great. But when I met him in person, it was just like, wow, like very humble. You wouldn't think of like him. I don't know, very intelligent. So those are guys that I would say, I really listen to once they speak. I really give them my full attention. So in that way of being a role model, I think those are some guys that I really look up to, and not try to like be like, but I just learn, just fully learn from. And one more, actually, my coach, his name is AJ, Austin Sims, and he's with Cement Factory. That's his brand, but he's another one. Like, we just met him randomly at my first pro show, or the first show that I won as a pro, and then connected with him. Such a humble guy. So yeah.
So you are not inspired by only a physique, but by a hard worker and ambassador of the sport, I think.
Yeah. The physique. I mean, there are physiques out there that I'm just like, wow, like that's amazing. But it's more than just the physique when it comes to, some physiques do motivate me, but I think it's just an overall who you are as a person, how you interact. And you can have the best physique, but you can just be a butthead to any and everybody, and it just turns me away from you. So
I agree. But if you choose a classic physique, it's because you prefer the physique from the 80s, or it's because bodybuilding, open bodybuilding, it's far away from your current status?
I think it's a little bit of both. That's a great question. A little bit of both. I really like the classic look. I'm a big fan of the classic look. I always have been. Just everything about it, the symmetry, the just overall look. It's super appealing. Not only super appealing, but for me, it's super attainable. Clearly. And then when it comes to, I'm not saying I can't attain the open bodybuilding look, and I have nothing against open bodybuilders like that. So much respect for open bodybuilders, because man, not only that, it's work to get that big, but I think it would take me even more years. Now, like I said, I am 33. No telling how long I'm able to be in the sport and when I would peak out or whatever. But I think around right now would be my prime, and I don't want to wait 2-3 more years. I don't know how fast I would be able to grow, but I don't want to wait 2-3 years to get to that level when I'm already like first Olympia top 10, and I can start getting better in this in classic physique. So yeah.
Do you feel bad when you saw Chris Bumstead, winner of the classic physique, and only 25, I think?
Did I feel bad? Like, because
that's like jealous?
No, not at all. Not at all, man. I'm super stoked that, whoever would have won, I would have been super stoked for them, because each person up there worked their butt off. Chris Bumstead's physique is amazing. He looks great. He deserves the win. Not saying nobody else looked great, but the judges thought he should win. I mean, I'm not going to go against it. I'm not jealous, but it's motivating. I'm like, okay, that's kind of look that they're wanting. Let's continue to improve my physique. Not saying I could shape my physique to how he looks. Yeah. But just get better. It's just, I use it as more motivation. I would never get jealous of anybody in this sport. Each one of us are working our butts off to get where, to get to the top spot. So I will congratulate him and then turn around and get back to work.
Yeah, I understand. I think you are, it's a humble vision, and I think it deserves you for the future, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So for talking about Tampa, because it was your, I think the biggest impact that you make this year, because even your top 10 at Olympia, I think not everyone saw you winning this Tampa Pro. How was the prep for the Tampa? Because it was 3 years apart from your last show, and during a pandemic. how hard it is.
Hold on, what about the Tampa Pro?
The Tampa Pro, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
It's a prep and during a pandemic and during all this information, bad information.
I'm sorry, I don't understand this one.
You won Tampa, so I just want to know how hard it was a prep because the pandemic, because it was.
Okay.
Yeah, you understand?
You say how was the prep?
Yeah.
Yeah, because of the pandemic, it was.
Not only pandemic,
man,
because you know it's like 3 years after your last show, and I think you are not the favorite for the Tampa Pro, but you came and you win, so you won. So
yeah. I came out of nowhere, from what a lot of people are saying. It was grueling, I tell you that, because actually the year before, my coach and I, my old coach and I were prepping for the Chicago Pro, and we didn't, I had a few people saying, "Oh man, he's going to kill the Chicago Pro. He's going to, he looks good. Who is this guy?" But we never did it, and just kind of like, I wasn't noticed, I guess you would say. Not until, like you said, the Tampa Pro did I start making, having people just truly recognize me. But because of the pandemic, it was very hard because we started prepping in February of 2020. And then essentially, like, we would, okay, our first show got canceled. Let's prep for the next show. Well, that show got canceled. Let's continue to prep. So I was pretty lean in prepping from February until the Tampa Pro, which, helped us, but then hurt us because I was exhausted. I was doing hours and hours of cardio, just preparing. So we would dial down, we would prep down and get extremely shredded. Oh, next thing you know, they cancel our show. Okay, let's, of course I love the refeeds and, little cheat meals, but we still had to stay pretty lean. And it was the first time I've ever done that, because usually during bulk season, like now, I just really enjoy it. I don't, I still work hard, but I, more so enjoy the food, and having fun with it. And then last year, we prepped for a very, very long time. And so once we got to the show, Tampa Pro, I'm not going to lie, I didn't like the look I brought. I didn't like it at all. And by the time the Olympia came around, I was telling my new coach that I'm just exhausted. I'm tired. And because, it's not only me prepping for a show, I have a family. I still have a business to run. I still have a job to go to, a full-time job. So just pulling me everywhere possible, it can get very, not only physically exhausting, but mentally exhausting as well.
Yeah. During the prep, you can train like normally, or you are closing your gym are closing?
My gym did close. It did close, but fortunately, where I live, the bodybuilding community is a little bit smaller. So I had some private gyms that I was allowed to go to.
Okay.
That would allow me, it would just be me training there. So fortunately, I had that on my side. And then there was a time that I was not able to go to the gym, period, where we weren't even able to go outside much unless you work. So I had a pair of 50-pound dumbbells that were really rusted and old, where you need a tetanus shot so you don't get some kind of infection. I forget where my dad got those from. And then like a pair of resistance bands. And so I will work out with that and body weight. And that got the job done until I was able to go back and utilize some real weights. So yeah, and that actually carried on after, and that's another story, that I had to quarantine 3 weeks before the Olympia. So that motivated me to get weights in my house and start, so just in case anything like that happens again, I'm prepared. I'm ready.
Yeah, it's smart.
Yeah.
Because you are so exhausted from the prep and from the whole environment, how was your feeling after winning the Tampa?
Oh man, it was just a big sigh of relief, and I was like, all right, I can go eat whatever I want. It was just one of those, it was just like, man, just ecstatic that all that work that I put in paid off. And that I think it just, I don't know, I was on top of the world at the moment. I actually made a video after that, and I just could not stop smiling. I'm actually still smiling because of it, because I know how many long days, just the sacrifice that I had to, put in, long, early mornings, long days, not eating. I actually missing a lot of events or holidays as well, because I was prepping for so long. I think I missed like every holiday that year of 2020 because we were prepping so long and I couldn't eat. So yeah, I was ecstatic. It's such a great feeling, and I still look back. I have the trophies and everything hung up, and I just still look at it and know that I was in such a different mindset of my work ethic and grind, that if I could accomplish that and dig deep in that season, I can do that anywhere or in any part of my life, whether it be family, spiritually, work, my business. So yeah, I'm still excited. I'm still smiling. So.
So you just after winning, you forget almost all the prep, and you say, okay, no, it's Olympia, and I go for Olympia.
Yeah. So the focus was now towards the Olympia.
Yeah.
I had some situations with feelings of coaches around that time. That's why we ended up switching coaches. Okay. I ended up switching coaches, but that was one of the focuses I wanted to, and big changes I wanted to make at that time. And that's why when I got my motivation came back, I guess I should say, and focus came back really, to 100% once I switched coaches. And yeah, so focus was now, all right, we accomplished that goal. Now let's conquer this next goal.
I understand, but I ask this because, Kion, almost after winning the Chicago, he say, okay, I'm done for this year. So
yeah. And that's still, everybody has different battles in their life and things that they're dealing with. So yeah, I remember him saying, he wanted to focus, and because I try not to compare my situation with his. I don't even know his full situation and whatever happened and his, why he decided to do that. But I could have stopped and said, no, I don't want to do the Olympia, because of, I was so exhausted and then mentally and all that stuff. But like I said, everybody is different. Everybody's is mentally stronger than the other or dealing with certain things. So I'm not sure exactly what his situation was. I've reached out to him actually around that time, and just offer some prayer and all that, and some advice and some support. But yeah, I'm glad I continued on. And he's a big name in the industry too. He's a really big name. So he could have, like right now, if I would have stopped and not did an Olympia, everybody was just like, oh, okay, Deontrai Campbell, who is he? So
I understand. And it's my next question, because, Kion, or for example, Jan Valier for the Tampa Pro says, we are so much pressure on our shoulders because we are the favorites, and they make stress a lot of stress for them. But you are not the favorite. And do you think it's more easy for you to not become so famous, for example?
Is it so easy for me to not become famous?
Famous or the favorite, for example?
Oh, yeah. You know, everybody, even I'm sure coming in next year, nobody's going to be like, oh, okay, Deontrai Campbell, which I don't know how I really feel like, you know, because maybe my physique that I had brought, you know, to these shows, they're, you know, winning physiques clearly, but I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I've had a few people in a few places or forums say, hey, he has a great physique, watch out for this guy. And then, you know, on the other end, I'm kind of like not in the talks of anybody. So yeah. I think once you start having that following and that hype behind your name, yeah, like some of these guys have gotten, then I think that's when I will become a favorite to win a show. But who knows? So that means I still got work to do. I still got to, I guess, prove my worthiness in this sport that I belong amongst the top.
I understand. But so when you come to Orlando to the Olympia, what is your feeling? Because you are a winner of a pro show in just 4-5 months ago. So do you feel a lot of pressure in compared to Tampa?
No. Yeah, not at all. I mean, that goes back to what I was just kind of saying when I was going for the Olympia. I think the pressure started coming when, like I said, some of these big forums started throwing my name out there and saying, oh, he may be top 5. He may be in the top running. You know, who is this guy? You know, then, you know, of course, it just goes off of some people is just a fan of this guy and think they deserve it better over me. But I don't believe, you know, I don't really feel like I had a lot of pressure. Because even when, this is funny, when I was doing the weigh-ins, the check-ins in Classic Physique, they I think it was Ron with, Muscular Development?
Yes,
Ron Harris. He had said something about me and he was like, oh, he barely knew my name. But he interviewed me before. He interviewed me after I won my pro card, and he doesn't remember this. But he was kind of announcing, and I heard him, and I just laughed at this because he was like, "Oh, this is Campbell, Deontrai Campbell. I think and this is what he was saying. I think he won New York. He won New York." And it was like false. It wasn't even anything about, you know. So I was like, yeah, they don't really know who I am, you know. So it was more so motivation. I didn't have the pressure like Chris, and everybody's eyes was on Chris and Brayon.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Alex, you know, the usual top guys. So I think that's, you know, I don't mind it. It's fine. It's just more so motivation than anything.
What is the atmosphere in backstage at the Olympia? Just because you know the battle for the title from Chris and Brian make some tremendous pressure. So the Olympia in Classic Physique, it's focused on these two guys. But do you feel a bad atmosphere in backstage?
Do I feel what? Better?
A bad atmosphere in backstage during with the athlete and not only Chris and Brian, but with all the guys.
Hold on. Do I feel
did the atmosphere during the backstage, during your prepping for going on stage to the Olympia, it was bad or?
So it was actually pretty awesome. Everybody was talking to everyone. But then you had a few guys that, you know, isolated themselves and, you know, didn't really talk to anybody. I remember Chris Bumstead back there, you know, kind of by himself. Brayon by himself, and a few other guys, top guys, I would say. But other than that, it was pretty awesome because everybody was talking to everybody, and you know, we're like, oh, hey, you know, I know you from social media, you know, hey, how you been? How you doing? You know, and you know, talking to each other. It was pretty awesome. I loved it, but it wasn't really any kind of. I think it's just because it was so highlighted on Chris and Brayon. I think it was just them two that really were just like had the most pressure, and you can kind of see it. You can kind of feel it as well. Where everybody else is like, oh, well, whatever. I'm just glad I'm here. So, and I think I was one of those guys. I'm just glad I'm here. I can't wait to eat. So,
yes, it's a lot. Like you say, it's a lighting for Chris and Brian, and for the other guy, it's more funny. If I can tell this. What is your feeling when you saw you hear your name on the for the first callout during the first day?
Yeah, for the Olympia.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that was an amazing feeling. Yeah, so if you recall, I actually got called into I don't even know how many different lineups when we pre-judging, and by the end of it, I was exhausted. But when I first got called out, I was like, okay, yep. I think it was back to the confidence thing. My confidence just boom, it went straight up. All right, here we go. Let's battle.
Yeah.
I knew this is where I belong. And so the judges saw the same thing and knew the same thing. And so, yeah, my confidence just went up. And I went from, oh, man, I'm just ready to eat. And this is exciting. I am so happy to be here, just to be here. I don't care if I place last. I'm so happy. To, once I got called, all right, I'm coming from that top spot, you know? So it wasn't like I doubted myself or anything, but it was just, you know, pretty awesome to know I'm being compared to the top guys in the world in Classic Physique. And that was a great feeling to know that, okay, the judges see something in me that they think I deserve to be compared to those guys. So, yeah.
Yes. But do you understand why is the judge placing you at the final at the 10th place?
Do I understand why they did that?
Yeah.
From my understanding, I had messaged them afterwards and asked them, what do I need to work on? So they criticized me and said, you know, what I need to work on. They said, well, you have a lot of muscle mass. That's for sure. But I needed to comment in my lower back. I knew that was a weak area of mine. And it has been for a while. And that goes back to, you know, my off-season training, not really focusing so much on it. But yeah, they told me I need to come in harder. I need to work on the width of my lats. And that was pretty much the feedback that I got from them. So with that being known, that's what they want me to improve. That's been the focus on this off season. So yeah, I think that's more so why, you know, I placed the way I placed. And, you know, I can't do anything but accept it and get better from there.
Yeah. It's hard for you to make the weight for the Classic Physique?
So, yeah, I am on the, of course, considered heavier for Classic. So I am at my, what my cutoff is 207. And I was weighing around that, I weigh around that actually every time I shred down. And it was always a scare. But I think that just comes with reshaping and being a little bit more, I don't know, just structured in the off season and working on the things that I need to work on. So I don't think I have every time I come back onto stage, I tend to come in lighter, but pretty much fuller and better all around. Mm-hmm. So the first time I ever stepped on stage actually in bodybuilding, I was a little over 207. And this is the lightest I have ever weighed on coming in and check-in. So and that's what I think we could have went down more with my physique. We could have shredded down to a lighter weight, but my coach, that's where he wanted me. He wanted me, nice and full still. And we were carving up, before, and we still made weight, but I think it's just, something that we're going to continue to improve on. So I'm not scared about making weight or going over. My body, yes, it wants to grow. It wants to grow. I can feel it. But my coach keeps on telling me we're sticking to classic physique, even if we're at the top of the weight class.
So you take attention on your weight during the off season?
Yep. My wife kind of like just looks at me and shakes her head because every time I'm weighing myself constantly because I don't want to shoot up. And I've been telling my coach that, going back and forth with what we're weighing right now. And my body just wants to grow. It just wants to grow. But like I said, we said before, I'm comfortable where I'm at. I like where I'm at, and it's just about improving the small little details. So, so I'm constantly probably going to check the weight after this video or interview. Every time I use the restroom, I'm checking my weight. But yeah, that's just going back to being a little bit more professional in off season too. After the show, I indulged a little bit too long, but we have to work a little bit harder now, which is fine. And don't get too much fluff on the off season. I think we'll come in and it'd be an easier prep, and we'll look a lot better too.
Another question about your coach, because you switched coach after Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
And did you feel nervous about this? Because like Chad Nichols, for example, with Big Ramy, the first Arnold Classic with Big Ramy was not that they expected. So did you feel nervous about that? Because for the Olympia, do you think it's not the best for you to switch at this moment?
To switch coaches? Do I think it's
because when you switch coach, generally you make some adjustment little by little. So yeah,
do I think it was a great decision?
Yeah, so not really a great decision, because if you take the decision, it's a good decision, I think. But do you feel like, okay, maybe I can wait a little bit and make Olympia with my old coach, and after Olympia I switch, or for you it's just the right time?
Oh, it was the perfect time. Perfect time. I do think we would have did pretty well. I'm not trying to dog anybody or anything, but there's such thing as like you hear it in the industry, cookie cutter programs, where I essentially get the same program as you do.
Okay.
And I think a lot of that was happening. And not only that, I think I need a lot more attention. So the coach that I switched to, AJ, man, he would message me before I even messaged him. And I was talking to a few of his athletes, and that's one big reason why I switched, was because his athletes were saying, hey, you know, if you switch to him, no, you're going to be annoyed because he's on top of it, having you send pictures all the time, updating and doing adjusting all the time. And I was like, that's what I want. That's what I need. And that just shows, you know, the character of, you know, my coach. He cares. He's really, you know, in tune, and he's in it because he really cares about the athlete that he works with, and not just about, oh, this athlete is going to make me look good because they're one of the top in the world now. Now I'm going to get more, you know, it's some people are only in this business for the money.
Yeah.
You know, not really wanting to help people and help people, you know, achieve a goal, because you help people achieve a goal, it does something to you know, mentally as well, and just all around in their life. So you can transform and change that person. And some of these people are in here I'm for the wrong reasons, you know, I would just say it like that. So it was a perfect switch. It was exactly what I needed, you know, because like I said, the relationship that I have built, you know, in just such a quick time with AJ, my current coach, you know, just blew up to the point where, you know, it was perfect too, because he lives down in Orlando.
Okay.
And so I was able to go down there and even stay with him, and he just took me in, and like, it was like a boot camp at his house, which was amazing. And he would wake me up and tell me, all right, go do cardio, you know. So he was on it. So it was a perfect switch, you know, right timing for sure.
Okay. And what is your plan with your coach for 2021?
2021. We've been, you know, focusing. We don't really have much of a plan, just improve the, you know, areas that the judges has kind of said, and we've been really focused on that. We have a few shows that we're looking at down the road, but life happens. So, like I said, if I were doing this full time, maybe my approach this year would be a little bit different. I probably would have stepped on stage already, but since it's not a full-time thing yet, you know, my wife and I were expecting a baby in June. So that's kind of throwing off what show I'm going to do, when I'm going to do a show, and all of that. So the plan so far has been improve, don't overindulge in food, stay pretty lean, and just keep on, and, you know, like I said, improving. So we talked back and forth about shows. One being, I haven't even announced this or said it anywhere, but one being Chicago Pro, then turn around and then do Tampa. But of course, that goes back to, you know, if we win Chicago, I think that's an automatic qualification. Then we'll just back and then focus on the Olympia. But with my wife and I expecting a newborn, that has just kind of slowed things down for the with bodybuilding. And I'm more so focusing on my household and my wife, and because she put up with all my anger and my complaining of last year. So it's kind of like I was pregnant last year and she was catering to me. So now, you know, she deserves me, you know, to really focus on her. But while I'm still focusing on her, I'm still improving, because she agrees, you know, I need to requalify and then get back to the Olympia, because she sees the vision and sees how great I can do in the sport. So she just supports me. So we're just trying to balance that. And in the meantime, like I said, we're focused on Chicago Pro first, because that's after we have our baby.
Yeah.
And then depending on how well we do at Chicago Pro, if we, really need to still do another show, we'll turn around and probably do Tampa. And then just continue to see what happens, this year.
Okay. So currently you are in off season. Is that right?
I am still enjoying the food. Yes.
What is a typical day for the diet for you?
A typical day. So we pretty much carb cycle.
Okay.
So it depends on the day. So for instance, today, and it always everything different because of my schedule as well as work. But I'm up 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm eating my first meal. My coach is really big on gut health and the type of foods that we eat, organic, cage-free, and what is actually your body's, how your body utilizes the food. So a typical day like today is, I'm eating 6 meals every single day. I love my back days and my leg days because those are my high carb days. And then we have a cheat meal once a week, which is not necessarily like the biggest cheat meal, but it's like a burger and fries. So, they're pretty much the same. I mean, today is a moderate day. Typical bodybuilder diet: chicken, jasmine rice, cream of rice. He does like to throw in some treats for like low-fat Pop-Tarts, and that's our approach. It's more so low-fat everything, and we fluctuate the carbs. So decent amount of carbs today.
Okay. You can't come in France because in France we don't have Pop-Tarts.
You don't?
No.
Oh, really?
Yeah, only if we can buy in US, so it's not very very useful.
Oh, wow. Huh.
Yeah, it's sad. But we have Rice Krispies,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I mean, you're not missing a lot because they're very high in sugar and stuff that we shouldn't be eating. So maybe that's a good thing. But
okay, so you say your back and your legs is your high day because I think it's your part, the part like you have to improve the most. But for me, in my opinion, you have a really huge back. What is your kind of training for the back?
I love, I used to do a lot of trap bars, lifts. Are you looking for more of the type of like the movements or?
Yes, movements and also your approach. Like, do you train like Darian with heavy row and a low set, or like Jay Cutler with a lot of your volume?
It's a little bit of both, honestly. So I personally love, doing more volume, and then, middle of my workout, I'll load the weight. But right now I don't do a lot of like compound movements. I'm more so machines, utilize machines or the cable machine with my workouts, and then a few compound movements like rack pulls. I'm big on the rack pull. Definitely, like I said, we have to work on our lower back. And then not really too many heavy. We'll go heavy on the dumbbells, and then a few machines, but it's mostly volume and contracting, time under tension. So like I said earlier, I have weights at my home now, and it's not the heaviest. So there are times I have to work out at home, and it's like So it's a lot of contracting, a lot of time under tension kind of movements. And I find that I get the best results and best, my body reacts a lot better to that type of training instead of just going in and lifting heavy. Plus, how I just recover and how my aches and pains and all that volume and just contracting are the best, personally best way to work out.
So you train like more like John Meadows, no?
Yeah, actually, yeah. And it's funny you say that because when I went to train with him, I was like, wow, I train like this. And plus I did learn a lot from him that day. So I applied it a lot more to my training. So John Meadows does definitely train like that. And my coach, he made a program for me when I first started with him. And, I still tend to hit it that way, but he's big on that as well. Contracting, squeezing, and utilizing the weight and moving the weight and not letting the weight move you, making sure you have great form and your body really will respond rather than, going in and lifting the whole gym.
Yes, I understand. Okay, so another question more about competition. Do you think, like Patrick Moore, that tattoos can cost you some point on the stage?
I personally believe that they can, only if they are covering up certain your physique in certain ways, not just because of how they look, but because of how they show your muscle or the type of tattoo you may have. Because it's all an illusion, right? Being up on stage, so that tattoo could actually make you, look not as dense or cover up, like I said, some lines somewhere. I'm not sure if that's has ever happened. Because you don't really see bodybuilders like that with, too many tattoos. But I do think it can affect you on stage by covering up a few lines or making your body look a certain way on stage that it's not as flattering, or maybe not, not what, it should look like, I guess I should say, or something. But yeah, it can definitely affect you.
Yes, and I understand, but it's also you can judge have to make to consider that it's the 21st centuries and a lot of guys are no tattoos. So.
Oh yeah. So because it is, it is like that type of sport, right?
Yeah.
Judge could not like the tattoos, and that is true. It could be a thing which it shouldn't. I truly don't believe that a judge should be up there and saying, well, I don't like a tattoo, or those tattoos. I'm not a tattoo guy, so I don't believe a bodybuilder should have a tattoo. It should just go back based off the physique. But I'm not a judge, and I'm not in that judge's head, and that could be a reason why the judge decides a certain thing over another judge. So that's the type of sport we're in, and we can't complain about it,
Yeah, for sure. Another question, I think in France, some of guys can saw you in the channel of desktop bodybuilding, because we talk about natural, and in France, it's very important to know who is natural and who is in charge. So what is your opinion about this? Do you think it's very important to know if a competitor is natural or not?
Not at all. I don't think so at all. I think it goes back to if the person is good, who cares? I personally don't think it's a big deal if this person is natural and this person isn't. That's just personal opinion and personal preference per individual. So I didn't know that about France or anything, but I do see it being a big deal, just on like a social media kind of thing. But when it pertains to bodybuilding, I don't think it should be any kind of thing that dictates whether this person is better or not. So if the person was natural, you know, and they're not better than the person that's enhanced and they want to, then do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, I mean, I didn't know. Wow, that's another fact that I never knew.
Did you feel, do you feel comfortable when you saw a huge open bodybuilder say, currently I'm totally off, and and they in the same post they post an image of them very huge. Do you think it's a good image for the young people, for example, or it's not very a lie? I don't know.
Are you saying, is that a good like thing to, you know, be like a open bodybuilder size for the average person? Like a good look?
I think a lot of people think, okay, this guy say I'm off, but it's a lie. I'm not sure it's the truth, but it's hard to believe that a huge bodybuilder say, okay, I'm totally off.
Totally off as in like gear?
Yeah. Sorry.
Are you asking me, is it realistic?
Yes. Do you think? I don't want to name a guy, but do you think they lie, or yes, it's possible?
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's possible. I think it's possible. I mean, some people. Are you saying like completely off for like years?
Some guys say I'm totally off, but some guys say, okay, I'm on tier T.
Oh, from my knowledge, you know, if you go off or whatever, you tend to lose a bunch of gains, and not necessarily a bunch of gain, but you don't look the same at all, because first off, your body has become used to that foreign testosterone, and it may even stop producing its own testosterone right away. So you're going to have low testosterone, which in turn, you're not going to have as much muscle mass and just all the way around. So, you know, I don't know, that person, whoever's saying that or whatever is going through, you know, they could be off. But if they're looking huge, really, really huge still, that could be a different, you know, situation in itself. And like you said, they could be, you know, do TRT. So I don't know.
I think they are more on TRT, but we don't know. So
yeah, I would more so lean towards TRT, because I don't think any kind of man would want to feel a certain way after being on the testosterone, and then, you know, you don't have the libido, you don't have you know, just all the way around everything that comes with testosterone, your natural testosterone, being a man, energy, the way food digests and process, you know, all of that.
And also for the mind, I think.
You said what?
Also for the mind, because when you are very, very low in testosterone, you don't, you are more, you can make some, I don't know.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, definitely for the mind. You know, it's mentally, you're not going to be the same. Yeah, mentally, you're not going to be the same at all. You know, just all around. So yeah, I agree.
Okay, so I don't want to take you too much time. So just before we go, I know you are a true believer in God, like Lionel Bayeke in France, you know?
Yeah.
So for finish this podcast, what is the message that you want to say and to pass on?
What kind of message do I want to say pertaining to God and my faith?
Oh no, for the people who are listening to this podcast? Sorry.
I'm not really sure. I mean, just keep on working, keep on grinding, man. I think we should be using the bodybuilding industry should be a community that is not against each other, because that's a thing that I'm seeing a lot of, everybody's being against each other instead of building each other up and helping each other. Actually, Kevin Lavroni went on a podcast recently with Hostile. I think it's filed, and he was kind of saying this, how Jim Mannion used to be, that guy that would have that community and hold everybody accountable, and just have that everybody would be, it's a sport, everybody's against each other, but it seems to bring a lot of hatred and a lot of animosity towards each other and dislike, instead of positivity, that like the community, it's a lot of like ego driven kind of attitudes out here, and it shouldn't be like that. So I think just everybody who's in this fitness industry, first off, should be cheering on each other. And if you see somebody doing great, there's no need to be jealous of them. Use it as motivation, if anything. There's no need to be jealous in any way. Applaud, and we need that kind of energy. We need that kind of focus and support from each other, because you never know what somebody's going through. You may see them doing really well in the gym or reaching their goals, but you never know what somebody's going through mentally either. So with you saying something, even the slightest negative thing towards them, because I've even gotten this where somebody said, I'm doing really well, whatever, and they'll say something negative, and then that'd make me, maybe even think negative about myself. So that's just because see somebody doing well on the outside doesn't mean they're not hurting on the inside or something's going on with them mentally. So be there for each other. I think that's a great message that we need to hang on to this year. Definitely after what everybody in the world had just went through with being locked down and isolated, and we should now be coming together as a community, and no pun intended, but lifting each other up. So
I understand. It's a good message, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And just before you go, do you know some words in French?
Do I know some words in French?
Yeah.
What's funny, you're saying this because that was one of my freshmen when I was in high school. That was my I went to try to learn French, but somebody said you will never. And then my aunt, a sibling, actually is a French teacher, and I really, really wanted to learn French because I thought it was pretty awesome. It was just I thought it would get ladies a lot more because of the accent and all that stuff. Yeah. And I'm not complimenting you right now. I'm not trying to say you have a lovely accent or anything, but no. But so anyways, that's a different subject. But what was it? It's a blank right now. I used to know, like, what is your name or how are you? Can you say that again? Can you say it?
In French or in English?
In French. How do you say how are you?
Comment vas-tu?
Yeah, and then you what was it? J'aime, like, my name is, what is that?
Mon nom est.
Oh, okay. Maybe they was teaching us some other stuff. I don't know. Maybe the wrong French. I'm glad they didn't teach me, because I would have came on here acting like I know French and then said some off the wall stuff maybe. But yeah, I don't know anything as far as French. So maybe I should learn, because that'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah. Do you think you can came in France when the pandemic will over? Do you plan to go on in Europe to visit?
I would love to. I would love to, because to visit and maybe even do some shows or something, you know, because definitely now that I look at the shows overseas, I'm thinking like, man, I can't do any show. There's a limited amount of shows. So if I were able to travel and go overseas, you know, to Europe or whatever, maybe could hit a few shows. But my wife had actually, you know, talked about going over to Europe, and it looks beautiful over there. We would love to go and visit and, you know, be those typical Americans and over in Europe, not knowing what we're doing and just thinking we're doing everything that's considered French. And so there's definitely a lot of food over there that I want to try too. So
yeah, but you have to wait because all the restaurants are closed.
Yeah, I know, unfortunately.
Yeah. But I think for your daughter and your wife, it will be great to see the friends.
Exactly, I think so too, and that's what life is about: exploring, learning new things, and building new relationships.
And maybe, like you say, compete, because we are looking to have some pro show in France, maybe, but in England for sure. So
yeah, for sure.
Okay, so thank you very much, Deontrai, for the time and for your kindness. It's a very great pleasure to have you in the podcast. Up for you, the next season will be the best for you with your next baby. And you're also on stage, and I hope we can see you at the Olympia also in Orlando.
I appreciate you, and thank you for having me on. And I'm excited about this year, and I'll keep you updated on everything.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Deontrai.
All right, bye.